My name's Bridget. I'm a volunteer at the Foundling Museum. I've been a volunteer for about 3 years now, I think. The object that I've chosen is a painting by the artist Henry Nelson O'Neill. I've chosen it because I think it really sums up the emotions of a woman who has had to leave her baby at the Foundling Hospital. It's actually called A Woman Depositing Her Child at the Foundling Hospital, Paris, not the London Foundling Hospital. I think you can see from her expression, that she is kind of desperate, she's tired, she looks as though she's tried to think of all the possible options for keeping this child. Her bonnet's fallen down, her shawl's fallen down. She just looks totally exhausted. From the sort of little vignettes that we've had from the archives, and also that we read in the museum about how a woman got to the place that she is in now. Many of them were about seduction and abandonment. Somebody had been promised marriage and then the man disappears or dies or whatever, so that seems to be a very common theme. She's left her baby on a little shelf, which is actually a kind of door into the gate of the Foundling Hospital, Paris, where they would take the baby in. This is very different from the Foundling Hospital, London, because actually the woman wouldn't have to appear herself in person, not until the late 19th century. You can see she's just about to ring the bell, and she will leave her baby there and she will disappear, and they will take the baby through. Well, I think the connection with the Paris Foundling Hospital actually is really important, because Queen Caroline, the wife of George II, who granted the Royal Charter to Thomas Coram to set up the Foundling Hospital, she was very much in favour of the Paris Foundling Hospital, which had been set up as a Catholic foundation in 1670, so predated by a long time the London Foundling Hospital. In fact, all the 21 ladies of quality and distinction who signed the first petition in 1735 for the setting up of the London Foundling Hospital had been ladies of the bedchamber to Queen Caroline. And she, in fact, wrote a pamphlet about the setting up of the Foundling Hospital in Paris and all its rules and regulations as a blueprint for the setting up of the London Hospital. So I think that connection is really interesting. The second reason that it resonates with me is that I did a French degree, and I lived in Paris for a year in 1970. I lived on the left bank, and I used to love just wandering around the streets of Paris. It's a very walkable place, and just sort of soaking up the sights and sounds of Paris. And of course, at that time, there were a lot of winos, rough sleepers and prostitutes who one passed on the street. And I think I thought, well, there but for the grace of whatever, go I. And I think I also thought, looking at this painting, well, for some people, things have not changed that much in the last 150 years. There's still destitution, there's still poverty, there's still unwanted pregnancies, although, of course, contraception has altered that for many. But I think it still does resonate today. I mean, what I did start thinking about, actually, was when I looked at the painting, I suddenly thought, I wonder what this woman's backstory is. That was the thing that really kind of jumped out at me. And I started thinking, oh, well, maybe I'll just write a bit of a backstory to this woman, which seems to be now developing into something rather longer than I originally thought. And maybe it'll turn into a novel, who knows?